last year, I mean, they did okay last year in men's physique because they've been switching it up, you know.
We're recording.
All right, cool.
We're going live for the people. We're wasting all our good commentary.
What's up, man?
Not much, bro. Transitioning off of, I'm getting that taste of that full-time working parent life. Beth went back to work, so I'm on night shift, and I used to, you know me, I used to just stay on nights on my days off, but now I got to get up and adjust because when she goes to work, I got to stay up and watch the child. So my physique's going to go to trash. My cortisol levels are going to spike. My blood pressure's going to get all wonky, and all my dreams are going to die. But you know,
nah, I don't think it'll be that bad. Your check-in photos looked okay anyway. So
yeah, it was honestly, man. As far as I knew, it was all going to come back off. I really over that whole Thanksgiving break, I kept it tight. I know it's difficult to believe that Thursday though, Thanksgiving itself. I just didn't eat all day because I was busy because I was cooking. I mean, we hosted, so I was cooking meals all day. So by the time I finally ate, I ate like 3 plates of like actual Thanksgiving dinner. So it just formed this ball of fucking, yeah, in my stomach.
You gotta pace yourself on those kind of meals.
Yeah, it was a lesson. So, you know, I know I saw it and was like, fuck. I knew it was going to come off in like 3 days because, I mean, that day I took like 4 shits. And just was already like I went to bed after a full day of eating like 1.5 pounds lighter than I was when I woke up. Fasted. So, but yeah, anyways, back on track. That fucking I am a believer. I get it. The science behind, you know, you can't spot reduce body fat. So these creams, it's whatever. Like you can't zone in on the midsection. But I don't know, man. I've been using it so consistently, putting on my little belly wrap and putting on the burn cream. And I mean, Beth has even said, like, I'm seeing abs on that lower part where that skin is still taking a minute to come in. But I mean, I still got so much weight I could lose before contest time. Like, I think my midsection is going to look a lot better this time.
I told you, man. I told you it's like the last component of, you know, putting the cream on and stuff like that is time, you know, and now it's like you're doing that with that other component. Now you've been doing it for some time now. So you get to reap the rewards. And also we stayed pretty lean too. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I got close to 270 over these 2 years, but I never went over it. And I don't know, I mean, who knows what I'm going to need.
You just so happened to get that high. We didn't push for weight to get that high, you know.
Yeah, it seems to be this weird spot for my body. Like
you were hungry. That was because you were hungry. We increased food, kept increasing it. You're not supposed to be that hungry in the off season, so.
Yeah, and that'll be, you know, I'm hungry. I want to get up and do something, so I'm happy. Hopefully, something starts opening up in the first quarter of 2021 because I want to start getting my foot on the gas and doing something. But I'm excited about it. So, there's a show coming up in a little over a week. little show.
The one show.
little show. This little promoter is putting on in Orlando, which is everything this year got moved to fucking Florida. I guess that's just the Wild West over there. They don't give a fuck. But the Olympia, the return of the gift. Some people are theorizing.
I think Phil's gonna win. You know, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
All right, well that's the episode.
No, man, I think I mean it'll be super exciting because everybody's, you know, doing it besides Sean and Flex, but everybody else is doing it, so it'll be intense to watch. I'm kind of curious to see what Brandon's done since last year. He seems super confident. I know Hottie's going to be grainy. I know Bodak's going to be on point, so it's just kind of it's going to be like a battle royale of sorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely. I see it as a really big dramatic battle for second place because it's And he did his random interview with MD, and you could see the death face on Phil. He just cheeks sunken way in with his little beard. He looked like a refugee. I'm like, that motherfucker is coming for blood.
Yeah, man. I think he knows. I think he's had time to like be like, it is my midsection. Maybe he has had time to have that talk with himself to like finally be like, my midsection's gotta. If not him, then I trust Hani to have been like in his pictures to be like, what are we doing with this midsection? Are we gonna lose from the midsection? Like I kind of envisioned Hani staying on top of that too. So I think that was the only real knock against him, even when he lost.
And it's
So
always important to mention, he lost because of the gut, and everybody, dramatized it, and it was a big deal for a couple of years. But people forget, like 110% Sean finally knocked him out, and it was not a landslide; it was close. So even off, Phil almost won because he's fucking Phil Heath. He lost out big on his front double and his front sprint and those kind of things. But as soon as he turns around, he wins. And there's certain shots that were
yeah, so I
controversial,
mean,
like they hmm?
the only thing we have to, I guess the only thing that could be working against him is being off, like, or I guess not off, but being away from the gym for however long, because of the surgeries or just father time. I know he's not old. I think he might be 40.
He's 41.
Yeah, might be 40, 41. But this time,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know if that'll have any kind of, but that's like, trying to pull straws there. I think he'll be fine.
I think I think as he gets older, he'll have that same muscle, and it's gonna have an even different. Like it's already cartoonish and 3D, and pops out of the separations like crazy with insertions that just. I mean, there's obviously that reason he's called the gift, and I think as he gets older, it's just gonna get denser and nastier, and just now he's gonna have old man
I think
muscle.
he'll do 10. I think he'll run it back. Yeah, I think he'll win this and then run it up to 10.
Yeah,
Um,
that's honestly what I see, and it sucks because everybody, including myself, I'm making a point. I don't talk about people personally because I don't fucking know these people, but people want Brandon to win because they like Brandon because he's a great dude, or he seems like he's a great dude. He's got his family, represented the sport really well. He's just kind of that wholesome kind of guy. Phil. I want to say Phil got a bum rap, but he obviously had that cockiness, that well-deserved cockiness, I guess, in the press, and really didn't react well to criticism at first. But granted, he got when you're the champ, everybody's criticizing. So I don't know how I'd react. I mean, for all I know, I'd be worse than Phil. I'd be cussing people out and fucking blocking and fuck off. You can't do this. But so because people like Brandon so much, I think people are getting delusional. Like
yeah,
they.
I think that's what's happening too because, I, he looks great and he looks freaky and he looks crazy, but Phil is just like on a different level, I think. Every time you never really see Phil, but every time you do see him, it's just like shit. Like, what the fuck is that?
even,
Like
even
it's like,
just in the
oh, it's like okay, never mind. Like,
yeah,
yeah, Phil, it's something different. You
even
know,
just in that photo that he shared on Instagram that Nick Strength and Power saw. I don't know if you saw it, just like a update picture of him like working out in a hoodie. You can see striations and veins in his triceps going around. You're just
yeah,
like, what the
he's just a
shit?
monster, man. So I think and it might be because he might have shorter limbs or he might be a shorter guy, but he is round and like freaky, bubbly, like the roundness is crazy. So
So we both got Phil Heath number one,
yeah,
and the
and
question,
I say Brandon can pull second, but he'll be fighting Bonac again. Honestly,
because that's I think of all the people that are going to compete, if he's on point like he has
and
been
hot.
before, that Bonac might be the closest guy on that stage that can show kind of like what a Phil has with the way his muscle pops, the way, I mean, there's certain his front double, some people consider kind of weak, but his back double, I mean, a good, like if a 2018 Bonet can show up, that's a problem for anyone. I think he could beat Brandon. What's weird about this is going to be a running theme through this episode that I've noticed, is it used to be that if you were the champ and you showed up with some improvements, like not worse, but better than you were the previous year, you weren't going to lose. Even if somebody, I mean, 2007, Victor showed us that. Like, if as long as the champ comes a little better, a little more polished,
yeah,
they usually say the champ kind of has to beat himself for you to like dethrone somebody. But I noticed,
unfortunate,
and we'll get into this more when we get to the classic. But I noticed last year they broke that mold with Breon, where Breon was the champ and he made improvements, and he came back and they still took it from him.
Breaking that mold too.
So in the Open,
the last 2 years.
Yeah, no one's really talking about Brandon like that. They're not giving him the benefit of being the champ, being the returning guy. Like if he shows up, like you got to be, you can't just be 100%. He's got to be off, and you're 100% for him to lose. So I'm noticing that's kind of, I don't know, maybe it'd be more like the Arnold moving forward, where it's like the fucking Wild West. Like you don't know who's gonna win the Arnold. Whoever shows up and wins it, I guess. But
Big Rammy's always this big question mark, because if what they said, you know, who's his coach? It's leaving me right now. Is it
Chad Nichols?
You know, he was saying that it's because he pumped up backstage that he looked the way he looked on stage, and that if he didn't pump up, he would have looked crazy. You know, now it's time to kind of prove that. Now he has nothing to say now. He doesn't have COVID, and he's here. You know, we know
he's living with Dennis James, having every meal made for him, making sure. Because something that got brought up, I was telling you before we hit record, I'm going to not plagiarize anybody's opinions, but I've watched, I mean, I love this shit. I love it when it comes around. I love seeing the analytics and stuff. And Jose Raymond's one of my favorite. He's just got such a brutally honest take on things. And started to show, like with Rami, you know, there's all these technical excuses, and then people try to play to the whole, well, if you're not a competitor, you don't know what it takes to get in shape, or you know, little things make big differences. And Jose flat out was like, I'll tell you, if he lived with a Dennis James all year, then I think we would see something good. But if he's on his own, if he's left to his own devices, I think he cheats. I think he cheats on his diet. I don't think he gets out of bed and does his cardio. I think as great of a dude as Rami is, he's missing that last element. To miss the mark in the exact same way this many years in a row, it's like he seems like he's
I would get frustrated of missing the mark because of that, though, after a while. But that's just me. Like if I was, you know, Big Ramy level, and this is like the third or fourth time I'm making this excuse and I'm coming back, I would figure this time I'm not going to cheat. You know, I think it's got to be something else. At this point, I think maybe it might have been true for a few preps, but I don't think that'll be the case for this upcoming one. I would hope not, unless that would make him a kind of a big dummy, you know.
Oh yeah, but it's kind of one thing that Luke had said on a podcast with him and Fu out a while ago that I thought was really cool, because I remember when I was watching that Arnold, it's funny because we're still like looking for that little bit more, he was more shredded at the Arnold, even with their missed carb up, than he had been in a while. So I started to wonder, and maybe this is just what Rami's physique looks like. Maybe it's just not going to be what we think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think he needs to train with a waist trainer too. As much as people crap on those things, I don't think it would have hurt him, you know. Doesn't have to wear it tight, but, you know, I think that would help his waist a little bit too. His legs look freaky, but they didn't look fake last time. They used to look really weird, and I think it's because they didn't have any maturity to them. Maybe he grew too big or something. They had this weird shape to them. The last time I saw them, they looked more proportional. But he needs to get some grafting or something done on those things too.
I think he needs to pull a Jason Hutt and just literally not train his fucking legs for like a year.
Yeah, maybe just
fucking
therapy work done to him.
yeah, get some therapy and just let him atrophy. At least his quad. Maybe tack your hamstrings onto the back of your back day and just leave those fucking quads alone because it throws his shape off. Like it's honestly like a lot of his front shots, it doesn't look right. You want to say it's something like on-site oil or something, but that's I don't know with that many like in a row. I just think it doesn't seem that way to me, but
And
it's
when he's
freaky.
doing his front double and stuff like that, he never sticks his gut out. Big Gravy's gut's never been a problem or anything, but I think his waist is kind of wide, and it would make a crazier taper. It would make an illusion of a crazy taper if his waist was in just a tiny, tiny bit.
But so my big question is, so since the rules are kind of off and nobody is giving Brandon that leeway of being the returning champ, I wonder if it's just that's the impact Phil has, or if that's the way the sport's going, or if subconsciously people are like, did he win 2019? Like
he was just a 7-time, champ beforehand. That's why, so they're just acting like Phil's 7-time champ. I don't think it's like crazy. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. But
Because
so
because it wasn't Brandon that knocked off Phil.
right.
That's why. I think that's another reason too. So,
yeah, I think if Sean was competing, that'd be.
So it's like it's almost like they're both Mr. Olympias, but one's won 7 of them. I don't think Brandon's really not getting enough credit or anything. Like you said, people love Brandon, whereas they didn't like Phil. So I don't know.
It's not necessarily that I would say that they're not respecting Brandon so much as you know what I'm saying. There's that part of the Phil won so many times where people were saying like, well, he's the champ, so he's gonna win.
There's an asterisk. I think not because Phil wasn't in it more, but because Sean didn't do it. Because Sean, that would have been knocking out the current champ. I think that almost has more of an impact on Brandon specifically. You know what I mean? Because he didn't get a chance to knock out the champ. Whereas Sean, that was undisputed. Nobody's beat Phil Heath like that. And he did it with some style too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he showed up 100%. That was 100% Sean.
Yeah, so that was nuts. So Brandon didn't get to beat Sean like that, and he didn't he got to beat Bonac, which is not a bad thing, but that's what it is. What it is. That's why he has the asterisk.
He beat. That's always my beat for the 2019. I'm on record a few times saying I love William Bonac, but there's an argument that Hottie beat Brandon. In my opinion, I think there's no argument that Hottie wiped the floor with Bonac. He beat him on every pose.
Yeah.
So it's one of those.
I think you got Hottie in front of Bonac for this year. I think I might.
I do. If he makes it, I think Hottie's got third place with a bow on it. I can't bet on Ramy again. I can't.
Yeah, especially if Hottie's coming with the facial hair too, with the
Oh yeah.
Wolverine, the stuff dyed. The Wolverine chops that he has. It's game over.
You can see like when they walk, they walk out from behind that O and hit their first little thing. He walks out and locks that shit in. He's just a fucking cement truck. The guy.
So what do we think about Hunter versus Ian? Who's gonna?
I legitimately think
versus Akeem and Justin Rodriguez.
I think I would not be surprised in the least if Hunter cracked top 6.
Okay. So
I can't express enough how much I think this kid's going to come do some damage.
All right, so Hunter and then Akeem versus Ian and Lucas Osladil.
I think Osladil, I have him outside of 10th personally. He always comes in shredded, but I just think structurally he's given up too much to these other guys. They all just have a little more of a wow factor. Osladil's got good conditioning and his glutes look pretty crazy, but there's nothing else that really makes you look at Osladil like, God damn. Whereas you get Akeem,
does look, I think he's one of those guys that looks nuts in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he does. But he's one of those that's
Pose is
so.
really crazy, but I think his size and conditioning. If he comes in condition, then I wouldn't put him outside the top 10. I might put him like 10th, you know,
He
at
just.
9.
It's sometimes the problem, not problem, but sometimes what will happen to guys that are so balanced is nothing stands out to you when he poses. Like there's nothing. There's not a particular shot where you're like, whoa. I mean, I guess anything from the back where he can show
Any good shots.
if he can do that like Tom Platz pose where you like
What is the moon
yeah,
pose?
double down and do the moon, then that'd be pretty crazy. But I think Ian or not Ian, but Akeem and Hunter will be a pretty good battle. I don't think Ian's got anything for Hunter. I really don't.
And you don't think Ian's got anything for Akeem either.
I guess that's a tougher one. I'll give it to Ian that his side shots are pretty great.
Oh, you're giving it to Ian.
Whoa, man, we're talking. We're just talking.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just thinking, man. I'm just thinking.
Ian's got some crazy like his side try and his side for his like midsection and stuff, but I don't know that he beats Akeem on side shots because his upper body it's like they're kind of opposite. Ian's upper body like waist up.
Akeem's got the glutes from the side too, and he's got that nice full.
He's got that hamstring drop like crazy and
yeah. I got Akeem on the side shots. So you have front double. You got Akeem or Ian.
I think Akeem takes it hands down.
All right, front lat spread. Akeem or Ian.
Ian. Depending. Sometimes he does that thing where he hikes his shoulders up too much and it makes his shit look real narrow. But then sometimes it's weird. He's one of those where his progress pictures can be super deceiving because when he's by himself in his kitchen, his front lat spread looks nuts. But then when he
Akeem puts on oil, like extra oil, enough oil, because that's what he needs with his skin. It's a tan and the oil, like for that dark skin to reflect the way it's supposed to.
mm-hmm.
Especially who knows what kind of lighting Olympia is going to have, being like makeshift.
Just ramshackle.
Yeah, and I think the stuff like his lower back and his glutes and stuff will show. Because I think it can get muddled, not because he's not conditioned, but just because it just doesn't show up like it's supposed to.
I love the guy.
You got Ian in front of Akeem. All right.
I don't have Ian in front of Akeem. That ain't what I said.
I've got them swapped. I just got those two swapped. And I've got, all right, where's Antoine fall? What do you think Antoine falls in between like Hunter and Ian and Akeem and Max Charles and Justin Rodriguez? You didn't even mention Justin, so I guess he's not. I guess you just.
Well, we're both not mentioning Dexter Jackson or Rolly.
No, because those are boring people to talk about. Everybody talks about those guys. Everybody's probably already talked about those guys.
I have, like, as one little grouping, I've got Hunter, Antoine, and Akeem kind of fighting for being. They each one of them could edge something out. Because
Regan, I would say falls in that group too.
Yeah, a lot of people are like putting Regan like at the back of their list. Like the kid can be dangerous, man. He can come. He comes. He knows how to get that conditioning down.
No homo. He doesn't get like that hard look. He gets dry and grainy, and he takes these nutty pictures. But I think on stage, when they're posing, he can appear thin in his shots when he comes up on the. I have the same problem on like the front double. I think he can appear thin, and I think he's not. I think the graininess and stuff that comes when he's posing in his pictures doesn't translate on stage when he's standing next to other guys.
I can see that. I think Antoine, it's really deceptive how he looks on stage sometimes because he's so tall and his frame is so big. People forget Antoine's fucking huge. Like he's actually a really big guy. He looked. I know the lighting was crap, but from what I tell you, he looked damn good in California. And the way
he had such nutty posing, his posing was like some of the best.
It's funny like that. Antoine to me, like an Antoine is what I would consider a quote unquote classic. Like
Yeah,
that.
Antoine's the reason I started stretching again, man. I was like, damn, I need to. He's on the ground shaking his quads and stuff. I'm like, man, I need to go ahead and start seeing if I can pull a split or something. Yeah,
I
he looks
think for
already.
right now, I think the main thing that's going to be the decider between him and somebody like Hunter is Hunter. Hunter's already fucking huge. Like he's at the point where he doesn't need to put on any more size because he's like five, I think 5'9", but he doesn't look that tall. So he's real compact, and he's like what 260, so he'll be almost like around 250 on stage at that size with those lines and that shape. I I got him in sixth. I do. I think Hunter will crack it, and I think Antoine will be right behind him just because Antoine, a couple more years, Antoine's going to be a fucking problem because all it is just he'll look as good as he is. He's just going to have to be a little bigger because his frame is bigger. He can carry the
So
extra.
you like the new guys. I like it. I like it. So you see the newbies coming up and just fucking up everybody.
But
So
we've all seen it ever since Hunter
Chul,
showed up.
who I'm thinking about is that Chul, the bodybuilder? Like,
No, are you talking about that dude that won the Korean?
I think so. He's from South Korea.
It's
I
like
think,
soon something.
yeah, he probably looks nuts, but if it's the guy I'm thinking about, he looks crazy. His structure's nuts, but he doesn't come in condition. So,
Yeah,
uh,
it's.
and
I
then you
think
got Juan Morel. Where do you see him?
it's so hard to tell with Juan. I hope he makes a liar out of me because I've only ever seen that one kind of Juan. Even when he started working with Cement Factory, maybe his progress pictures looked a little grainier, but as far as what came out on stage was still Juan Morel, who I mean he's pro. I mean it's always important to have the disclaimer that these are the best in the world. You know they
Spit it
Juan.
out, man. Now, when you have to say all that before you're like, let me throw out the disclaimer. Let's get 212. 212. You want me to read you the list real quick?
I got a pretty good idea of who all
All right, top three. Throw them at me.
top three 212. I have Kamal repeating. I have Peterson in second, and unless I want to have Clarita in third, but I put Derek in third.
Wow.
I think Clarita. I think eventually Derek is going to have to. He's got to leave this class. I think 212 is he's just got to go to the open. I think his best physique is 225 or so. I think, because in his progress pictures he looks hard, but when he has to cut down, it flattens him out and makes him look soft.
Well, let me look at him. You talking about Sean Clarita?
Yeah.
Okay, because I got
No, I'm
him.
talking as far as what I just said about cutting down and going soft. That's Derek.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I agree.
But he's
I'm about
consistently.
to be like, what's Sean been looking like? Because I think that dude is tiny. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's like.
I was like,
I think he's like 5'4" or something. He's tiny, but his physique doesn't look like it.
I want to take a look at him because I think I might have him in first or second, man.
First or second, really.
Yeah. Sean Clarita, I think I might have him in first or second. Let me see.
I wouldn't hate it.
He
I mean,
doesn't post a lot, man.
no, he doesn't.
But I'm gonna go ahead and make a controversial pick and say I got Sean in either first or second with Kamal. They'll share first or second, and then I got. I'm gonna do a top five. then I got. I'm like now it's George versus Derek, fighting for the next two spots. I mean, either which way, I know George is going to come in on point, but I don't know if Derek is going to. But
One of
I
those
don't know if legs are going to look filled out from behind.
because George,
Derek
the main thing that's going to be a hurdle for George in this class is his height. He's a little too tall, but he knows how to fill it out pretty good. I think what's going to favor him in a comparison with Derek is what we're just talking about, how Derek has to suck down and get and flatten out. And if he looks soft and they stand him next to George Peterson, he's going to look fucking like a Kleenex. He's going to look real soft.
Mm-hmm.
George is going to expose all of it.
Yeah. So if they're leaning toward conditioning and that hard look, then I got George in third, and then Derek in fourth. And
But
then
this year is kind of exciting because they got, I don't know if you want to look it up. I'd see if I can find a picture.
I want Detrick Lewis and John Jewett to be up right up behind those guys. In 5 and 6. Oh, what did John got like 4th last year, didn't he?
Yeah, John got 4th last year, but there's something we got to take a look at here. Let me share the screen.
I think his genetic potential is
Here's what
only has so much left. No, I'm not looking at Ahmad Ashkenani because his legs are always disappointing on stage. That looks crazy from the side there. Let's see. I need to see some other shots.
I'm just. Who knows?
Looks good. I mean, that looks good, but
jeez. I know it's been an issue for him, and that's why I think he took last year off. I don't think he was at the O last year. I don't believe Ahmad, but I'm just saying you can't count him out.
I'm not going to count him out. I'm just going to put him back with out of the top 4.
And there's this guy who I think people don't take seriously enough. Even though
I think he won those shows because these other guys weren't there.
You think?
You know, I think he'll come in with that grain conditioning everybody's been talking about, but his legs are going to be undersized when it comes to stand up. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. When it comes time to face everybody else, I think in all of bodybuilding, except for physique, your legs almost need to be oversized. You know what I mean? It's like, well, my legs are bigger than yours. My legs are better than yours. I mean, your legs can't just be proportional. They almost have to be bigger. He doesn't have, he needs some bigger legs to hang with other guys. Not that he's not proportional.
So you got Kamal repeating. Well, you got a battle between Sean and Kamal for first.
Yeah, because I gotta put some respect on Sean's name because it'll be cool if he does pull something out of a hat. Well, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt of the judges, like going in with clean slate judging. You know what I mean?
To be honest, I've never quite understood why he suffers it because I mean it's been a couple of years of him looking solid and deserving that respect, and you would think that him and Steve. Not that Steve would do him a favor, but he's a New York guy. He's a Bev's guy. Like, I'm surprised Steve doesn't give him an honest look and really put him in there with the guys, you know? I think he beat Derek last year, personally.
He seems real modest and seems like he can lift super, super heavy. Because the guys that ever get a lift in with him say he's like, intense, So I don't know, man. So I'm putting him up there. I like to see. I'm not afraid to play the wild card. I'll put him up there. I'll put Sean and Kamal fight for first and second, and then I got Derek and George for 3 and 4. But I think George will probably handle Derek, possibly, more than likely, and then after that it's Angel. I think he'll come in. Angel and Detrick Lewis, Bo Lewis, and Jewett. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jewett's time in the top 4 is not going to continue. But
all right, so we got classic now, man. Wait, did you gave your top?
I gave you my top 3.
See, David Henry. Unfortunately, I think it's time for David Henry and Guy. To chill, man. They're legends, man. They're guys I look up to, coming into the sport. I'd like to see them do some other cool things too,
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Guy obviously is one of those if you're winning shows.
As long as it's not too, because I know it's tough on his body, man. I know my back hurts, some days just the way I did. And I know he's been dealing with some issues, man, and I don't know, man. All right, but classic physique. So we got, do you pay attention to classic? You got classic in front of you? I got a little list.
I pay attention a good bit. These
are my guys, man. So I got Oh, so I want to go. I want to hear you first because I know. I think I. What do you have? I don't want to persuade you because you won't persuade me, but I don't. I don't want to persuade you.
Classic is real interesting to me. I don't understand because it's very they are inconsistent with what they reward. Like if as far as we talked earlier about they broke the mold with Breon in that the champ, the two-time champ, brought a better package than he brought the previous year, and they took it from him. And the only reason that you would take it from him is because you're changing the criteria. But even with the change in criteria, it gets a little weird because if Bumstead is like what they're wanting, like these taller guys, and that kind of look like that, then I mean Breon and George shouldn't have even been second and third. Like there are other guys in the lineup that match up better with like what a Bumstead is looking like.
Who you got, man? God, stop dancing around. Whose feelings are you trying to save here?
I mean, I have no reason to think Bumstead won't repeat. He's still Bumstead, and if it's a Bumstead with some improvements, but you know, more to that point, like I guess if you're gonna go with a pick like Sean, then I think Vissers should be in the conversation for top three if Bumstead is the look they're going for.
So we'll put him in third for you. So you got Breon in second still?
I think it'll be between Breon and Ruffin. I honestly,
so you got Chris in first, and then Terrence and Breon in 2 and 3,
duking it out.
and then you got Wesley in fourth, and then so fifth. Who you got?
I guess I need to see the competitor list. Is that I know?
Right, so I'll give you some other top guys.
Is that the Lord Jones guy doing it?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Because that motherfucker is dangerous.
Yep, him, Jonathan Hambrick, Logan Franklin, DeAndre Campbell, Divine Wilson, Alex Cambronero.
Alex Cambronero and Divine Wilson are a problem. I think Logan Franklin's getting a whole lot of press, I think, because he decided to start slinging shit at Bumstead, but I don't see him top 6.
Sammy Gainham, he won a show at the end. It was either at the end of last year.
Is that Branch guy doing it?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Branch Chen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him, man. And he
I wonder if he was able to compete to qualify.
Man, that sucks. That sucks if he wasn't, because he was honestly.
He was top 5, wasn't he? Wasn't he like 4th or 5th?
He could have moved up because of his crazy structure. And especially if he had size left that he could have grown, then he would have looked like Lee Haney or something with his arms and legs. All right, so yeah. So who do you got? So you gave a pretty much a top 4, top 5. I'm gonna, if I'm throwing a wild card, which I'll throw what I think, could happen. And I'll note this too. I'm upset that Courage Opara is not on this list.
He only just competed, and I think the one he won didn't that qualify him for 2021?
Yeah. So I'm upset he's not on this list because I think, especially with the people that left, George and Keon, I mean, he would have been battling for first along with, Terrence, who I say can win. He can beat Chris and Breon. He can. I'm not saying he will, but I'm going to throw him in the mix for top 3. I think it's a basket. I think any of them can win.
Yeah.
But I think Terrence and Chris have a more likely chance than Breon, just because Breon has been looking good for the past month, and it's because he's been over his weight cap. Whenever he sucks down to his weight cap, I think is going to lose the magic that he has now, because I think he looks good now. You know what I mean? So
he's going to have to take that same trip that Keon and George took. It's going to not every. I don't think
he's putting it off just because he's been trying to get his title back. If he wasn't trying to get his title back, he probably would have already gladly, switched over. And that's one thing that upsets me about not having a tall and short class.
Yeah.
And classic, not having maybe like a different criteria. I don't know what you could do, like a waist to shoulder ratio or something like that. But
because it kind of gives it a bad optic. I mean, obviously, I competed in Classic the one time I've competed. You're obviously a professional Classic competitor. Classic is a division that deserves respect on its own. They can stand on its own merit, but there are those that I guess are so fresh to the sport that they use Classic as kind of a springboard to, get their feet wet, get their name out there as a competitor, and then move up. Especially somebody like Keon. I mean, the dude was like 6 years old. Like, of course he's going to grow. Of course he's not going to be able to stay in that weight cap. I don't think he's going to stay in 212. I think Keon will end up moving to the open, personally, and be fucking dangerous on an open stage. I think George is probably where he needs to be because he's in his late 30s. Like, there's no reason to try and get massively bigger when you're Peterson's age. He just keep polishing it up and eventually take that O if you can. But yeah, no, I think Terrence, but that's where it gets.
I forgot about David Hoffman too. He's in it. I forgot about that guy. He was pretty solid.
I guess it's harder for me to keep up with Classic because there's just so many there's so many shows that are like offer nothing but like physique and Classic. And there's so many competitors, and you get that one like where fucking Callum Von Moger stole a fucking pro card where they handed out like 15 cards. Like, how am I supposed to keep up with all these competitors if they're not, the cream is always going to rise to the top as far as that. I mean, it's not like I'm saying it's, that bad of a thing. I guess if you want to be able to charge more for the entrance fee so these people can put IFBB Pro in their Instagram handles, then fucking have at it, bro. Whatever you got to do to make your money.
Yeah, they're making some money off of some of these guys that just go in without the slightest clue what they're getting into, or maybe they know what they're getting into, but they just they're happy getting fifth place or happy with the participation pictures. I wouldn't even say participation trophies. Some people are happy with the participation pictures, man. So
get that card, and because I mean, I don't know, like, what are you gonna win, really? It's the same dudes that we see. Like, it's like any other division where I think they saw they could make a lot of money off this Classic stuff. So there's a million pros, but it's the same 8 or 9 dudes that are winning the big shows.
Dude, Ricky Moten too. I forgot to say Ricky Moten, and I think he got like 6th. I think he might have got 6th last year. So I don't know. Classic has a bunch of heavy hitters in it.
Is it Moten, Ricky Moten?
Yep.
Official Real. Oh yeah, Official Real T. Yeah.
All right. I forgot about I forgot. So we got him. Abner Logan looks crazy too. I think this is like his 2nd or 3rd trip to the O. Yeah, Classic will just be deep, man. So you got Chris on a repeat. I pretty much got Chris repeating, but I think Terrence could come in and either beat Breon or Terrence could come in and beat both of them.
I already said the guy's name, but we need to look at him some more.
Yeah, he looks nuts. His pose is unorthodox, but he's just got the craziest physique I've seen in person still.
The way you had said it just summed him up perfectly, because I remember looking at some of his gym photos, like, there's no way this guy is at weight, like stuff like this. And you just said, I mean, he's just got like hollow bones. I mean, look at that shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He's like classic Ronnie. He's like, look at his arm, man.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it. I think he can stir some shit up. Interesting. Yeah, and like Classic, and it's Open is exciting this year, but honestly, Open is almost so frustrating because it's so tight. Like, it's super. Like, these divisions we're talking about, I guess I don't give Classic enough respect. It stays deep pretty far back in its lineup.
Yeah, I mean, the Classic is tight. That's tight too. Yeah. They're all pretty freaking tight.
Actually, I think the main thing with
are tight too.
The main thing with Classic for me that kind of, like, what is the difference in? I don't know, like somebody like a Ruffin and a Bumstead, like. That's the big thing to me is, like, I'm so used to the way bodybuilding shows are judged, or the way they're supposed to be judged.
gotta add, and for me, you gotta add the silhouette, and you gotta add the and condition. So conditioning does count. So whereas Breon might have been more conditioning than Chris, that's just like maybe a third of the, the criteria.
Because if
We'll say the silhouette, how your shadow would look in the poses that you're hitting also matters too. So the aesthetics of those lines, the sleek, the way the lines are matters. I would say that does count, even in your mandatories, not just your posing routine.
That's true.
And then, yeah, I don't know. So between a Terrence and a Chris, I don't know, man. It's got to be. There's probably just that third. There's probably just that unspoken, thing between, like, whether it's confidence being exuded from the person. Who's to say? Yeah, I mean, you're right. There is like it is like, that's where it's subjective. There is something subjective.
There's that intangible thing there. It only happens in that division that somebody will say a thing like, well, he's just more classic.
Yeah.
That, like, kind of means nothing, but means everything because it decides everything. Like, because it just depends on what you, I mean, I guess Bumstead has.
I tried to make it not subjective, but it really is. Really, I tried to break it down to make it like something that was, relatively tangible, to be like, well, this is what classic means. But
I think if it goes off
different people, so
if it goes off balance and flow, and I mean, I guess that's different things, but like balance and stuff like that, I don't think Bumstead has. Like, I think things got kind of over dramatized in terms of
poise. Poise is one thing that does count, which counts in the open too, but it counts much more. I think it counts a lot more in classic too, because I think that's what got Breon a little bit too. If he lost by 1 point, I think poise, especially like in his ab shot, ab and thigh, lost that Breon smile and started shaking and started sweating and suffering a little bit. Meanwhile, Bumstead's, chilling and got the vacuum going. That's
rocking the fucking mustache.
Yeah, you got to think about the photographs that could be taken. You got to think about that too. It's like little stuff like that.
He's got
that adds up. That counts when it's that close. Those things count when it's that close.
It's definitely there's that question of, and I don't know that it comes to this. I guess I can get your opinion on it. Do you think with something like a newer division like classic that's really putting the IFBB back on the map and giving bodybuilding more of a place, do you think that marketability comes into play? Like, they just see that a guy like Bumstead, good-looking young kid, big social media following, and his air is in some ways more marketable than a Breon?
I can see that, but I don't think that's. I don't want to say that's why C-Bum was picked, because it's not like they're doing anything with Chris. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like AMI or whatever media company is doing anything with Chris to market him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what are they using his face for anyway? If they were to use his face,
Yeah,
he's already really active on his own as well. So his face is already out there.
Doing stuff at that Jack Factory company. Did they kind of sneak in under the radar, or was it just me? I feel like Bumstead started wearing like sweatshirts. I had no idea who they were, and that Olivia Gravengard, that old soul made new chick on Instagram, she actually looks really good. I'm glad she got her card. She started working with them. I'm like, who the fuck is Jack Factory? Like, I never even heard of them.
Yeah, man, starting the supplement companies easier and easier nowadays.
When are we starting our fucking supplement company,
their supplements are probably pretty good though.
I know the flavors look pretty good.
I think he's sponsored by them too, man.
Who?
Jonathan Hemrick. He's another one of these qualified.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see some mass monsters on it, man. I like them big boys. I like them Hollingteds. I'm so sad that he's not doing it this year. I don't know where he would place. I mean, I'm not going to be delusional and say that he's top 6, But
He wouldn't. He wouldn't have. I think he would have been behind Hunter. Uh, behind Akeem, behind Hunter.
I think,
Right there. Right
yeah,
there.
no, I think that. I think him and Patrick. Unfortunately, it's starting to be a thing that I see with Patrick with some of these with the bigger guys that he works with. That conditioning, it just needs a little more tightening. Because I think if he can get that conditioning tight and he's got that ridiculous back, his fucking lat spread and his back double, you're like, what the shit is even happening right now? I think
I feel like he's doing stuff with them. I feel like he's doing stuff with his clients. Like, don't do anything. Like, I think he's doing stuff when he doesn't have to.
right,
Especially your clients that look grainy and great 2 weeks out. Just don't do anything. Just let them be. If they look their best and those pictures are taken at the gym when they got a pump after 4 meals, then they just need to try to get the equivalent of 4 meals before they hit stage, so they have that same amount of fullness. Think about it more common sense,
yeah,
digestibility wise, and just just cut the fucking water off like the night before,
because
or like to sips or something like that. Whenever they start doing all this other crazy stuff, I think weird stuff happens, even at like an elite coaching level. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
because it's tough to hold them to task with somebody like an Ian, because Ian has that kind of physique that's always it's hot or cold. Um, and Ian that's on, needs a little more respect on his name. I mean, he can be dangerous. He's always a podium guy at any pro show he goes to. I mean, he's certainly not a fucking slouch. But yeah, I mean, his main thing is he can just randomly come in super flat. And I guess with some people like that, it's harder to figure out. But James normally was known for coming in diced. Uh, he was making slow progress, but kind of, I mean, obviously, as far as size goes, him and Patrick fucking put the hurting on and made a statement. But I hope for his sake that gets a little more tightened up. Because once you get to the O, it's not enough to be big. There's a lot of no one is gonna if Ramy and Rolly show up, being big doesn't mean shit. Like it's not gonna make a statement. You're not gonna stand next to Rolly and make Rolly look small. Or
I think Rolly's going to come in undersized. Speaking of being smaller than Rolly, I think he's going to come in smaller than he has been based off his pictures.
I mean, I know his legs were already starting to suffer. And people forget isn't Rolly like 46, like 45, 46?
I'm not sure how old he is.
I want to say he's in his mid 40s. So he's on that downward, because I think you and I had talked about it before, and then I heard Jay say it, so I feel like he probably saw one of our videos and copied it, or like read one of our conversations. But it's always been really funny to me that Ramy gets all this attention for his size, but like, what the fuck about Rolly? I know the cool thing about bodybuilding is it's not just about how much you weigh, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah, no.
I mean, Ramy outweighs a Phil Heath by 45 pounds on stage or something ridiculous, but you stand them next to each other, it doesn't look like it. I don't know but something like Rolly, I know Ramy outweighs Rolly, but Rolly looks fucking huge. Like he's probably got some of the best arms in IFBB history. His most muscular is lights out. It's fucking scary. I wouldn't want to stand next to it.
I'd agree. Yeah, him and Phil have the best arms.
And I guess we got to start adding Brandon. Brandon's got some great arms, but Brandon's got. I wonder if there's a certain amount of not as much because obviously he's still world class. But do you think Brandon's got a little bit of like an Akeem type issue? He's just got that real bad skin thickness, so it's harder for some of that. Because people have been talking like, well, his legs need to come up, and I don't think his legs need any more size. I think what's going to hurt him standing next to Phil is he doesn't get the lines, like the definition in his legs. Because when you turn around and you see those glutes and those hams just knotted up on Phil.
It's like the shape. It's almost like the shape of his hams aren't, even because I see I guess in those pictures that were released, I guess his coach leaked some pictures on Snapchat or something.
Yeah, he put out like a little posing routine.
Yeah, so I mean, his hams look good when he turns around, and then it's like he cinches them up, and then it's like his hams disappear. And whenever he comes back from the side, he has hams, but whenever he's doing his back shots, it's like he doesn't have hams. So I think it's just maybe it's the way his hams are shaped or the way he's working them out. Because I can tell they're bigger than last year. I don't know if it's going to be enough for Phil, though. You know what I mean?
See if I can get pictures of all this. What we need to do right here is just spend the rest of our video looking at rear back double shots of Phil Heath.
Mhm.
That's what you're going against. Step back. Back shots. A back crucifix. That's a good one. What year is this? Crazy. Just crazy.
I mean, that's just going to be tough to stand next to. That's not a bad thing to say.
No, not at all. Let's see, Brandon Curry have any back doubles on here? Yeah, I think it's an older picture, though, to be fair to him, obviously. But yeah, because it's very the main thing people talk about with Brandon is his shape. His shape is what won him the Olympia last year. The only way he beats a guy like Hadi. I mean, I think he has it in him. I think if he had brought the Arnold conditioning to the Olympia, it would have been a lot more understandable for him to win that. But that's the only thing you can give him over Hadi in 2019 was his silhouette and Bonac didn't have anything over Hadi. So I think it was just they wanted Hadi to kind of pay his dues. Because his first Olympia, he came in, got third, and won the People's Champion thing. Like, people knew. People knew what he was.
That's why they gave the People's Champion. They're like, well, at least we'll give him this.
And the guy who got it the year before was Rolly. So the fans know. They know what's real. But so, all right.
Didn't he also get the most muscular award? I know Rolly got some shit like that too.
I think they started doing that at the Arnold, and Ramy got it this year. He got the most muscular, because that's one thing that like doesn't get talked about a lot with Ramy. That I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, I'm a human being. I feel bad. Just I don't want everyone to feel like I'm shitting on anybody, because as I understand it, Ramy's just a fucking sweetheart. He's one of the best guys. Like, he's super nice, loves the sport. Nobody really has a negative thing to say about him. So you just try to look at their physiques. But we're do you think Dexter's got another top five? I don't know. I think they might give him another top five.
Not in this lineup. So we said we got Brandon, no particular order. We got Brandon out the way, Hadi, Phil. So that's 3 out of the way. Then you got Bonac. That's 4. So he could fit after that. He could fit in there.
I think Rolly's time in the top 6 might be done. I think of all that first guard of people, I think
you got Ramy too. So he's really going against Ramy and Rolly. If Dexter can beat Ramy and Rolly, then yes. If he can't beat Ramy and Rolly, then no.
Yeah, I guess it's just going to depend on what Ramy shows up. I'd love to. I mean, we're making our predictions. I'd love to be wrong if he brings it. And that's the thing, though. The thing with a guy like Ramy is, what is it? Because we're wanting him to bring something he's never brought. So I don't even know if he can do it. Everybody just kind of gives this thing to Nichols, like, well, if anybody's going to know how to do it, it'll be Chad. It's like, I don't know. How do you figure something like that? I will give
Chad credit. I mean, you did, like you said, I mean, he did come in pretty much on point. It was just slightly off.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was off just slightly enough for me to believe what he said, about it just being he was on point, and they put out pictures. I think it's a good thing for them to put out pictures in that kind of case. It is good for you to put out a bunch of pictures leading up to the show so that we can see that you are actually in shape, and that you're not bullshitting us. Because,
I totally agree.
More transparent. It's like, well, he was in shape, and yeah, maybe he shouldn't have bumped up, if that's what it was. Or, well, he was in shape, and he just got nervous. So, damn, he's not cheating on his diet. He just got, he just can't handle himself on stage. So I think doing something like that would at least cut that crap out the way.
I had heard the thing was that I don't know if it was pumping up or just like he had never worked with Ramy and he underestimated how fast Ramy was going to carb up. I think he's one of those. Ramy is one of those you got to deplete him all the way up until a few minutes before he goes on. Maybe give him something, give him some energy, give him a little something at breakfast or something like that. But his body just takes those carbs.
Yeah, he probably just needs to stretch and do like push-ups, and then just go back. Like maybe he just needs to do some shoulder rotations. You know, and touch his toes, and he's ready to go.
He definitely
Posing will probably just get him, put the blood where it needs to be, posing.
I hope he had some work done or whatever he needs to do to figure out what was going on with that damn back lat spread. Like he should have one of the most dangerous back.
Going on there,
yeah. He should have one of the most dangerous ones in the IFBB, but it was like he wasn't getting that full stretch. I wonder if it was like a shoulder issue or like a tweak somewhere. But anyway, I hope he got it fixed. I hope the guy, I hope the best for him. I hope the best for all of them. I'd love to see things get shaken up. That's what's exciting about a year like this is we're all just taking like best guesses. Supposedly, because we talked about Morel, because he's been living with Cormier for like a few months now, and obviously Cormier's like, this is crazy. You've never seen anything like this. We've changed his physique. But it's weird with somebody like a Juan. I don't even know what does he need. The only knock I've really ever had for Morel, so it's hard for him to find the balance between fullness and conditioning, and his legs look narrow from the front.
I think he reaches kind of his genetic potential too. He's one of those other ones. Like, man, he's a legend. He's done everything. He's done this show plenty of times. He's won plenty of shows as a pro, and he coaches plenty of people. I think him and his wife have a successful cookie business and stuff.
Super successful.
One of those ones where I'm just like, it's not that I don't think he'll do great. It's that keep doing it if you love it, but man, you don't have anything to prove anymore.
He had the kind of career that I would love to have. He got what he needed out of bodybuilding, and I mean obviously.
And he looked like he had fun doing it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really miss those old videos. Him and De La Rosa and Akeem used to all train together. Bev's just like all of them just dumb strong, just doing stupid shit like curls with 300 pounds. I mean, just. But yeah, I guess that's kind of wraps it up. I know there's obviously a lot of other divisions. There's no way to avoid the. Why aren't you talking about physique and bikini? It's honestly, I think you had said it before you recorded. That's like a whole other show, and to be perfectly honest, it's just not.
You got to start watching these girls, man. They put in some work.
I am. I'm trying to look more into it. Like I said, I was following that Olivia Gravengard. Obviously, I know of Shanique, and I didn't know she was working with Meadows. That I was like, because I know she hasn't been like she apparently she just started like 3 months ago, but I was like, damn, Meadows kind of moving up. Meadows has always been like a guru for like that second tier of open bodybuilders and 212 and some classic. Like the past few years, he's got Ruffin, he's got Missy, now he's got Shanique. I mean, he's getting some top of the gene pool talent coming to work with him. So I'm happy for him.
He knows what he's doing, man, and he's like a Juan, like what I'd like to see Juan move on to doing, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Meadows got his pro card, and he's doing it right. So,
well, man, I know last time I had to just kind of cut out unceremoniously because my kid had a shit explosion that my wife was having to deal with.
We don't need any ceremonies, man. We can just say peace out, see you later, until next time.
One of these years, I think I work for it this time, but moving forward, if I hope one of the lessons of 2020 is that people have started to really focus on the online streaming and trying to get better quality. If that continues, then I can promise on this channel, we're going to try and link it up and do some fucking live streaming of some of these shows for 2021, because there's going to be a lot of exciting shit happening. I'm hoping, like I know what happened with Hollingshead and you talk about Courage. I hope these guys don't qualify for the 2021 O and no one competes for the year. I know we got that back half of people that will have to compete because obviously anybody outside of the top 4, you have to compete to re-qualify. But I really hope we still see some.
I'll be competing.
Hell yeah, you'll be competing. I'll be competing.
Yeah, so that's all that matters. I'll be there.
Got to do a prep series, man. Got to do
Yeah,
a
I
prep series.
will. Now, I got on my three. I got three microphones and a mixer right there, and like behind me, I put up my. There used to be a bed, but we moved it out. Gave it to Brittany's sister. So I guess we're gonna move this desk and set it up for the to be. This will be the podcast room.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I got to get a backdrop. Just something to put up so you don't have to see my dog's crate and just the office. Get some more professional lighting. I got a little like collar mic for whenever I do like cooking videos and if I can do training stuff and shit like that.
Nice.
But yeah, it's kind of been YouTube has been one of those. It's at this point it's just fun because it's not actually costing me any money. Like I record a lot of stuff on my phone and I just use the computer mic for this. But you know, it's something I want to do more. So it's definitely something I got to put some time and some more money into. But yeah, it's exciting. It's all exciting. And then we're gonna close out this shit show of a year, and next year, hopefully, everybody gets over their bullshit, takes that fucking vaccine, so we can start getting back to what we like to do.
Dude, I had a good year. You had a good year. You had a baby. I bought
Yeah,
a house.
I feel like I hogged up all the good luck.
Yeah, so it wasn't a bad year.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Glass
Realistically,
half full, sir.
yeah, realistically thinking, I don't do much anyways. Even if the world is open, I don't really go anywhere. So, but anyways, man, we'll cut it out. Any last words for the people?
I got nothing for them, man. They can go fuck themselves. I got nothing for them.
We keep it real on Troll King channel. All right, well, we'll get it up here. I guess I would assume I don't know what's coming up before the O. So after the O, we'll get together and talk about the results. That's gonna be a fun show to do. That'll be a 2-hour episode. I'm sharing my screen the whole time.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right, dude.
Later.
Later.